Pearl the girl. And it is Mark in the minivan wearing an Angus shirt today. Can you see that? Can you see Angus? All right. How are you guys? I got to get going. We're going on vacation. So our older dog, Ozzy, is gone to my mom's house. He's 12, and he doesn't move much. He literally just, he kind of just sits around all day.
Reports now coming in from local media. The U.S. Coast Guard is working to rescue 12 people who are stuck on a remote island in Terrebonne Parish.
All right, 12 people are stuck on a remote island. But anyways, Ozzy is at my mom's, where he'll just go out onto the street, and he will... Well, not out in the street, out into her driveway, and relieve himself and eat. And that's all, and sleep. And that's all Ozzy does at this point. So, sorry, I just saw my neighbor walking, who I know has seen a few of these Mark in the Minivan episodes. And I was like, he probably heard me talking loudly in the car to myself and was like, oh, our crazy neighbor's doing another episode of his stupid YouTube show. So, anyways, which I am. He's correct, right? So we are on our way to the kennel to drop Pearl off, because my mom didn't want to have Pearl. My mom's in her 70s. She didn't want to have Pearl at her house because, Pearl will probably do about $60 worth of damage a day to the house. So, which I understand. So, yeah, we're taking her to a high-end kennel, blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking last night, because I got home and Emily was tired and she wanted to go to sleep, but I started watching this Radiohead documentary, which, I'm a pretty decent big Radiohead fan, but not enormous, or I would have already have seen this famous documentary that's about 20 years old. Meeting People is Easy. It's the Radiohead documentary, very trippy, done when they were doing the OK Computer tour, which I actually saw that tour at Hammerstein Ballroom in New York. They played Hammerstein twice on that tour, once in the summer, I guess, would it have been the summer of 97? I'm trying to remember. And I wasn't at that show, but I was at the show. Then they came back around in December, and I was at that show. And the only reason I know that is because I went back to the set list, and I was like, oh shit, they played Hammerstein. Radiohead played Hammerstein twice on the OK Computer tour. And I looked at the set list, and one time they played Creep. That was during the summer. When they came back around in the winter, in December, they did not play Creep. And I'm absolutely positive I was at the show where they did not play Creep, which was fine with me, because I am a massive fan of the bands OK Computer, Kid A, Hail to the Thief. Love that stuff, man. Love it. Love those albums. That's kind of my era of Radiohead, if you will. And the first album, the one I don't even know that album at all. I know the song Creep, obviously. How can you not? But what they did after their brief career as a one-hit wonder with Creep was so awesome and epic. And the documentary is cool so far, but I only got through the first 45 minutes, at which point I was getting scolded because it was like midnight and Emily was trying to sleep, which I get it. Sometimes she does the same thing to me. I'm tired and she wants to watch something or something. So I understand it. So I shut it off. I'm going to watch the rest of it. Very good so far. But that got me thinking, because I was like, man, that Radiohead concert that I saw, I've seen Radiohead 3 times, by the way. The first time was at Hammerstein Ballroom. The second time was at Liberty State Park in New Jersey, right before the towers fell, right before 9/11. It was like on the 9th of September 2001 or something, and the backdrop to that concert was Manhattan, the Manhattan skyline with the Twin Towers, World Trade Center, and they were gone 2 days later. It was an amazing show, one of my favorite shows. I've been to hundreds of shows. That ranks up there as one of the best. But the OK Computer show, it got me thinking, and I saw them recently at Madison Square Garden, but the OK Computer show got me thinking that was one of the loudest shows I've ever seen. And I've seen hundreds, if not 1,000 shows at this point. My ears are shot. I'm an old man, past middle age. But I started thinking, I was like, well, what are the loudest shows that I've seen? Because again, I've seen hundreds of them. And OK Computer by Radiohead, believe it or not, was one of the loudest shows I've ever seen. And it was uncomfortably loud. And I was kind of up front. It was with my friend Nick Cavanera. Cavanero, and I actually had earplugs, and it was still unbearably loud. It was so freaking loud. And so it got me thinking to what were the top 3 loudest shows? Because I don't think shows are as loud as they used to be. They aren't. I mean, I went to M3 Festival this year, was very loud. And I was like, wow, this is louder than most shows. They had the PA cranked extra loud or something. But it wasn't the loudest shows I've been to. But back in the day, man, maybe I had more hearing back then, but shows were just freaking louder. They were. I think people are smarter, about it nowadays because they want to preserve their hearing and stuff, and the audience's hearing. And there's been lawsuits. Bands have been sued. I think Motley Crue was sued over somebody losing their hearing or damaging their hearing. So, don't mean to leave you in suspense, but here's my top 3 loudest shows, and I'm not ranking them in order. But Radiohead was one of them. Deep Purple on the reunion tour, the Perfect Strangers tour, which was the 2nd biggest grossing tour of the year. You want to talk about how popular the Ian Gillan, Roger Glover era of Deep Purple was? It was massive. Massive. When they came back in, what was that, 84, 85, I guess it was 85, and got back together, that was the 2nd biggest grossing tour of the year. Bigger than Prince, bigger than Madonna. The only one who beat them was, any guesses? Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA tour. Yeah, and that's how big Deep Purple were when they got back together with the lineup that everyone loved, or that most people, the mainstream American crowd loved. Let's put it that way. 2nd biggest grossing tour, and one of my top 3 loudest concerts of all time. Deafening. Gillan just killing it. I remember scraping the top of the arena with that voice of his and just destroying my ears. I loved it. Loved it. Child in Time. He destroyed it that night. And he didn't play it. He put that song, they dropped shortly after that because it was just too demanding. But I will tell you, that night in Chicago, he destroyed it and killed it, and it was one of the loudest shows I've ever been at. So there you have Radiohead, Deep Purple as 2 of my top 3 loudest shows of all time. And now this next one's going to sound weird, but it was a band. Maybe it won't sound weird. It's just not a band that had the success of those 2 bands. It was a band called Nitro, and I saw them in a little club in like Germantown, Philadelphia. And Nitro, Jim Gillette. Who else was in the band at the time? I guess it was Michael Angelo, now known as, first known as Michael Badio in Holland, then known as Michael Angelo in Nitro, now known simply as Michael Angelo Badio. Combined them both, I guess, it was like a John Cougar Mellencamp thing, right? You get all 3. First you're John Cougar, then you're John Mellencamp, then you're John Cougar Mellencamp. I get it. Michael Angelo Badio in Nitro. And my friend's band, I think they were called China Hall, opened up. And on the way back from the show, we got in a car wreck. I smashed into his car, and his girlfriend, who was also the singer of the band, hurt herself. So it was not good. So anyways, yeah. 3 loudest shows. Nitro in Philadelphia. That had to be 1988, 89. I'm guessing 89. Deep Purple on the Perfect Strangers tour in Chicago, I believe that was 85. And Radiohead at Hammerstein Ballroom, I believe that was 97. Those are Mark Striegel's 3 loudest shows, because we like it loud. Although I don't actually like it loud. I like it very loud, but at those 3 shows specifically, it was, well, the Deep Purple one, I truly enjoyed it. But the Radiohead one and the Nitro one were so loud that it was almost uncomfortable. So I'm guessing those 2 were maybe louder than the Deep Purple one. All right, I'll go ahead and rank them. I think Nitro was the loudest, then Radiohead, then Deep Purple. So those are the top 3 loudest shows. I said I wasn't going to rank them. I did. Man, babbling idiot. I like to keep these to 5 minutes, but it never happens. Sorry, guys.